Welcome, welcome. I am sitting directly in front of the Merriman Bobby's house in Heritage Park. I'm sitting in front of the second oldest building in Corpus Christi, built in 1851. And in the summer of 1867, this house became a hospital for the most terrifying thing that ever came off of the water and into this city. And the doctor who worked inside these walls, he did not make it out alive. This is what happened. It had a name, yellow fever. But the people who lived through it called it something else. The Yellow Death. And I need you to understand what it actually did to a human body. Because it was not like anything that you have ever seen. And it started like a regular fever. Headache, chills, muscle pain, guys. You even thought you were getting better. And then it came back harder. The liver, it began to fail. And the skin, it turned yellow. The eyes turned yellow. The body started bleeding from the inside, from the nose, from the mouth, and from the ears. And then came the symptom that gave this disease its other name, the black vomit. Digested blood hemorrhaging from the stomach. Doctors recorded that one patient stood up and shaved himself on the morning of the day that he died. That is yellow fever. And in the summer of 1867, it came to Corpus Christi. Nobody saw it coming. Nobody knew what had caused it. Doctors thought it came from rotting garbage, from stagnant water, from bad air. They had absolutely no idea that it was the mosquitoes biting them every single night. The virus traveled on ships from the Caribbean. It hit Galveston first, and then it spread south along the coast, all the way down to Corpus Christi, and 125 miles deep into the interior of the state. Rare was the settlement that had escaped it, and in a matter of weeks, thousands were dead across Texas. And Corpus Christi had never seen anything like this. They did not know what was coming. They did not know how to fight. And they were completely alone. There were 3 doctors in this entire city when the fever hit. 3. For a city where people were dropping dead in the streets. A letter came out of Corpus Christi that summer. It said, nearly half of all citizens are sick, but 1 doctor in town. Medicines are scarce. Now, one of those doctors was right here in this house behind me, guys. It was Dr. Eli Todd Merriman, Confederate Army surgeon, guys. One of the most respected men in Corpus Christi. And when the Yellow Death came to his city, Dr. Merriman, he opened up this house right here and he turned it into a hospital. He treated hundreds of patients day after day, week after week, right here in this building on these grounds. And then he caught it himself. Dr. Eli Todd Merriman, he died on August 12th of 1867. He was 52 years old. Now, I need you to hear this next part because this is the detail that stopped me completely cold when I found it. 3 months before the epidemic, the First Presbyterian Church of Corpus Christi was organized in this house, in Dr. Merriman's own house. And lumber had already been collected to build the church. When the epidemic hit, that lumber was used instead to build coffins for the people dying in this city, including the coffin of Dr. Merriman himself. The church lumber became his coffin, and very few people attended his funeral. because the city was under strict quarantine. He died almost alone after saving everyone else. Before it was over, guys, Corpus Christi had lost nearly 1/3 of its citizens to the Yellow Death. 1/3 of everyone that lived here, gone. The city lost its mayor, 5 undertakers, all 3 doctors. The newspaper editor's wife died. His sister-in-law died. The editor himself barely survived. Too sick to write a single word about what was happening around him. The streets went silent for weeks. Silent except for the rattle of wheels as the physicians drove rapidly from house to house, and the sound of mourners breaking the stillness of death-laden air. This man is buried right here behind me. He gave everything that he had to this city, and this city barely noticed he was gone because they were too busy burying everyone else. The people who died in the epidemic of 1867, they're buried here in this ground. Most of them without markers, most of them without records, most of them without anyone left to write down their names, because who would have written them down? They were dying too. The only thing that finally stopped the Yellow Death, it was winter. The first frost of November. It killed the mosquitoes that were killing Corpus Christi. And the city that had survived, it began to breathe again, but it would never be the same. 1 year after the Yellow Death came to Corpus Christi, a young doctor arrived on the Texas coast. His name was Dr. Arthur Spahn. Him and his brother, Dr. Henry Spahn, 3 brothers in his family, they all became doctors. And they all came to South Texas. So Arthur Spahn, he had trained at some of the finest medical institutions in the world, guys. McGill University, University of Michigan, Long Island Hospital in New York. And he came here to a city that had just lost 1/3 of its people. And he settled in Corpus Christi. He spent the rest of his life building medicine in this city. He invented a surgical tourniquet that was adopted as a field instrument by militaries around the world. He traveled to the Pasteur Institute in Paris. He went there to save a patient's life. He holds the world record to this day for removing the largest tumor ever taken from a living patient, 328 pounds, with the patient fully recovering right here in Corpus Christi. And in 1905, with the help of the King family, the Kennedy family, and the Kleberg family, Dr. Arthur Spahn built the first real hospital the city has ever had. And he is buried right here, right behind me where I'm standing. The city that had 1 doctor and no medicine during the worst epidemic in its history eventually got a doctor so extraordinary that his name is still on every hospital in this city today. The Christus Spahn Health System, the largest hospital system in South Texas, named after a man buried here behind me. That is what survival looks like. That is what this city is made of. The Yellow Death came to Corpus Christi in the summer of 1876. It came off the water. It came in silence. It came when nobody was ready. And it took people whose names most of us will never know. People buried in this city right now, in Old Bayview, in Holy Cross, in the ground under the streets that you drive on every single day. They were here. They fought, and so did this city. Now you know. I'm Ashley with the Curveball, and I'll see you in the shadows.